So I think I'm gonna move myself away and give you a little intro and then turn it over to you.
Okay. Is it okay I'm recording that? I saw that we can record our own.
Yeah, so just a reminder to all the attendees that if things are being recorded, for the most part, it's being recorded by the presenters. And that if you want not even a copy, if you want to see the presentation after the fact, it will be on the presenter whether or not they want to share that. And I will be sharing everybody's contact info so you can contact them directly if you're interested. If they're willing to share the video and they share it with me, you guys will get it too. So, all right.
I also just realized I chat boxed to all panelists. So if you are going to be in the chat box, I think it needs to be all panelists and attendees. So I'm going to try to say hello again.
Yeah, everybody has to, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? My individual one was right. Yeah, so if you guys are chatting, make sure that it says two, click on the right thing. It should be panelists and attendees. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right.
Hello.
So welcome, Miss Orit, and thank you for bookending our summit. This is really exciting and kind of bittersweet, but I'm so glad that that we've reached the end of such a rich, just full weekend. So Orit Krug is an internationally recognized board-certified dance movement therapist. She guides women to heal past trauma from their bodies so that they can truly let in love and enjoy their relationships. Orit provides transformational sessions for women all around the world via online. She launched the first ever dance therapy podcast, Mind Your Body, in April 2017. She campaigns daily on social media about the importance of bringing dance and movement into trauma recovery. As a result of her creative and novel approach to advocate for the field, Orit won the 2018 Innovation Award granted by the ADTA. Welcome, Orit.
Thank you so much for having me, Erica, and thank you everyone for being here. I'm really excited to go into my presentation today, which, if you didn't notice, I changed maybe once or twice. So just to clarify, first and foremost, I'm going to be talking about creating the dance movement therapy career of your dreams. And if you're not a dance movement therapist, something along in those, in that area. And I want to be talking about how to have more time, more money, and providing transformation to a larger audience without burning out. Because I honestly, that was a lot of, well, the majority of my DMT experience is less time, less money, less reach, right? And I feel like as a field, it kind of feels like a far reach to have the opposite. And so that's why I'm here today to present this, and I'm going to be doing, talking, and also we'll be doing some movement as well to get a different perspective. So thanks, Erica, for your intro. Just a little bit more about me and why I'm talking about this today is because in June 2018, about 2 years ago, I quit my job as a director of expressive therapies in a psychiatric hospital. It was around 8 years or so at that point of working in different institutions. I was already at kind of top manager level in the creative arts therapy department, and I just felt like I needed more, like I had a stronger pull to work with more people, help more people, especially after starting my podcast. People all around the world in different countries, different areas, remote areas were like, wow, it's so good to have like some connection to this. And I thought there must be so many clients out there who feel the same, or potential clients really, who don't even know about dance therapy at this point. So I'm going to be really transparent about like numbers and money here today, just so, because I think that's a great place for us to go, since money seems to be really taboo in the subject of, or in the conversations of DMTs. At my director position, I was making about $65K a year, and now in my business, I make anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 a month. And I want to let you know that that's possible for you, and that's, again, why I'm here today. Another fun fact is, like I shared, if you weren't here already, I am 6 months pregnant, and if I get up and move with you, you'll notice. So I'm just going to put that out there. So I'm just going to share who I've intended this presentation for, and I just want to check in and see if that's why you're here, or if there's a different reason why you're here. And like I was saying to Erica, I like to shift and adjust my presentation based on why you're here. So let us know in the chat box if any of these, I'm going to list out a few different scenarios of where you might be. Let us know if any of these are where you're at. So perhaps you were drawn to this topic because you're currently burnt out. You're working in an institution, but you want to do your own thing. You want to go off on your own. You're maybe in private practice right now, but you're unhappy with your income despite seeing 20 or more clients a week. Maybe you feel a call to do something much bigger within dance therapy or within your specific kind of somatic related fields. You're starting to resent that you've spent loads of money on graduate training and feel like there's just got to be a better way. You might even be considering going back to school to get a social work degree or to go and get more certifications or more training just so you can get paid more and be recognized and valued as a clinician. I've got one more. And you want to do things differently, but you don't want to sell out or abandon your DMT identity or your specific identity as a movement practitioner. Those are all the things that I've listed out. Let us know if you resonate with any of them. And then let me know if there's anything that I didn't say that about where you're at that's related to this workshop. Maybe also you're not quite there yet, but you could see yourself being there in a few years. And I also want to say to any folks of color, like if there's something specific about you being drawn to this topic that I might not have addressed right here, please, please share that. I'm dedicated to making this a safe space for you to also share any specific issues or, concerns or thoughts about, within this area. All right, so I'm seeing some comments and I'm just going to take a moment to scan through that. In private practice, unhappy with amount. Yeah, I'm not going to read them all out loud because I'm sure they're going to come in quickly, but I'm going to scan through them. Would love to do my own thing. Want to do things differently. Also, if any questions come up through this, then that would be the Q&A section would be a good place to put any questions because I'll answer questions at the end. Ready to move towards private practice. Want to start envisioning what my practice would look like as a person of color, difficulties working within an institution. Want to start, yeah, I love that you're here already, like thinking ahead. That's awesome. Many of those. All right, keep them coming. I'm just gonna, I don't know, Erica, if you can save that chat. But
yeah, I can save. I can also copy and paste it into a document, which is kind of what I've been doing for
okay.
Center. So I'll make sure I do that for you.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, I definitely want to be able to read through all of them. But I also want to move on so we get through everything. So basically what we'll uncover today, so I took a little survey in the Dance Therapy Advocates group and some other related groups, and by no means does this represent the whole, but it's a jumping off point. And I asked the question of, what are something along the lines of like, what are the biggest beliefs or objections that's holding you back from starting a practice or a business beyond kind of the traditional trajectory that DMTs go. So the top three things, I'm going to call them myths today. The three myths about creating a profitable, successful business or practice as a dance movement therapist. The first one, I'm just going to list them out quickly and then we'll dig deeper. The first one is time. So I don't have enough time. A lot of mothers commented and said I can't balance motherhood with business. Number two is confidence. So I need to have a lot of confidence. I'm not good enough. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And number three, like, is that three? Yes, that's three. Identity. So I know I need to niche, or I have to have a specific focus. How can I keep my values as a dance therapist and still expand it as a business? And also the wellness market is so overcrowded. If I, you know, how do I even show up in there and matter, you know? If any of those resonate, any of those or all of those, let us know in the chat box as well. I saw a question from Beverly. Make sure you put that in the Q&A because it's going to get lost in the chat box. I would love to answer that. I'm just going to answer later. This is that we're in the chat box right now, and there's a separate Q&A question. All right, yes to all. Number one. Yeah, if I go in this direction, am I still really a DMT? Yeah, we're going to definitely talk about that. So the first myth we're going to dig into is time. And the first thing that I want to share about time is, well, first of all, time is relative. So do you want to build a business, or this, you know, your vision of your practice? Do you want to build it fast or slow, or somewhere in between? Because you can be successful either way. It's just a matter of how quickly do you want to do it? Do you want to do it really quickly? Or do you want to gradually build it up? That's, you know, that's in your choice. Either way, you can be successful. Although I understand, because I kind of fell for this a lot when I started out. So there's a lot of different kinds of marketing out there that's like how I made 6 figures overnight, or how I earned $10,000 months in 1 month. I don't know, you know, like things that are like, I became this success overnight. And of course that contributes to this myth. And the first thing I want to say about that is that we don't know the whole story about that. There's often details missing that are really important. For example, likely this person who said they made 6 figures overnight didn't actually just like start a business and then they made 6 figures the next day, but they spent a year or two putting all the pieces together, working on their business, and then suddenly things flowed in. And she or he or they started making a lot more money. And that's kind of what happened with me as well. Like I was stuck at, when I was starting my business for a year, about a year, I was stuck at making $2,000 a month. I was like, I really want, you know, like this isn't really sustainable. And then all of a sudden things clicked and I started bringing in a lot more money. And that wasn't, even though that happened in the course of less than a month, it didn't happen in less than a month. I put a lot of effort and all of that before that led up to that. And then, you know, in terms of time, when you start a business, the amazing thing about starting a business is you get to choose how much time you want to give. So the common thing right now is, you know, maybe you charge $100 a session, and if you're in private practice, you'll probably have to work with 20 or more clients to make ends meet. But when you build a business with a sustainable strategy that fits you and what you need in your life, practically, what you need emotionally, energetically. For example, you can sell $3,000 packages to work with each client for 3 months, for example. Then you won't have to give as much time to reach a greater income that's sustainable for you and your family. So it's kind of the opposite. Like we make a business, or we can, at least that was my intention, to create a business so that I can have more time, right? So I currently, like just this month alone, I signed up 5 new clients for a dance therapist who works for me in my business. And I'm not doing any of that delivery, but I'm still bringing in income, and it's allowing me to work a lot less hours and still serve so many people who need my service. So we can actually create a business that gives us more time. And that is up to you. Let me know if this resonates with you, but for whatever reason, this is a bigger whole, like time. We have unhealthy relationship with time a lot of the time. I know it's something I've really had to work with, where it feels like it's a force that's uncontrollable, that's outside of us, right? There's not enough hours in the day. I don't have enough time, or time is going by so fast. It's like we always relate to time in a way where it has control over us. And so what I want to do is do a little bit of movement here, where we can start working through that, start building a healthier relationship with time, and also help you feel that I can step into this new business, I can step into this new practice in a way that's going to work for me time-wise. So I'm sitting down. I might stand up, I might change. You can always change positions, of course, but wherever you feel comfortable, just to move for a few minutes. Let's start with 2 breaths together. So breathing in and breathing out. And you can invite whatever movement you want with these breaths. And again, breathing in and breathing out. And just get settled wherever you are. You can close your eyes, you can lower your gaze, and just start to embody right now having a successful business, right? So you're bringing in great income, 5 figures a month, let's say. You're bringing in 5 figures a month, working only the amount of time you want to be working, and feeling really good about your work. Perhaps this is the vision of success for you. I want you to start embodying that, only moving slow. So whether that means you're, whatever movement that looks like for you, maybe it's opening up, maybe it's holding your head up higher, moving your shoulders, maybe it's feeling part of your body move in some way. Whatever that looks like for you, there's no right or wrong. Just do it slowly and see, can I feel this? Can I have this in a way where I'm moving slow? Maybe it's something centering. Maybe there's some motions bringing all this to you, that it's flowing. Try it out slowly. You can also try it out fast, see, maybe that does work for you. Maybe that is the way you want to go. Or you maybe try out fast and it's like, nope, I need to do this slowly. Or take another 30 seconds or so, however you are moving, whatever you are doing. Maybe you might feel yourself even speeding up without noticing it. I think I was just starting to do that. And that is so that resonates so much for me in my business. You have the choice to slow it back down. And just start finding closure for this very short movement piece. I know kind of this nature of this workshop is going fast in itself, but take your time to gradually, slowly bring this movement to a close without rushing it. And we'll end with another 2 breaths with whatever movement you want with this. So breathing in. And breathing out. And one more time, breathing in. And breathing out. And whenever you're ready to kind of come back to the screen, I would love to hear, and it would be helpful for others to hear, what that felt like for you to embody this, having this successful business, whatever that means for you, in a way where you move slowly, where it's like that window of time is larger. Any ahas, any insights? Did it feel possible for you? Did it give you any new perspective on that? If anyone is here and not sure where to type in, there is a chat box. I believe that there's a little box at the bottom of the screen that says chat. A big smile appeared in my face. It's possible. Yes. I want it to feel real. It doesn't yet. Yeah, we're still kind of in the imaginary. And that's a good point. Some days, even in my own experience, I'm like, is this real? Did I really just create my own thing and it's working and what? I understand that feeling. There's a feeling of hope. Felt really good to envision what my success would look like. Found myself smiling, heartfelt later. It's coming soon, and that's gonna feel good. Yeah. Surprising how enjoyable and easy it was to move the abundance without knowing how it would get there. Oh, I could do a whole separate presentation on that because it's often like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, or I'll believe it when it happens. And often we actually have to embody and live as if it's happening already, and that's when things flow in. I mean, that's the law of attraction kind of route, if you believe in that stuff. But I know that's something that really helped me. Keep your comments coming. I just want to kind of wrap up this myth as well, and remind you that the reality is you can have a successful business no matter how slow or fast you want to move. And the time has nothing to do with the success. And it is so important to move at the speed that is right for you. I personally spent way too much time pressuring myself to grow really fast, and it burnt me out. And it also led me to make rash decisions for my business that weren't actually right for me. And then I actually just had to start over with those areas. I had to start over because I made decisions and went paths that weren't right. And that ended up taking me longer anyway and took up more time. But when I remind myself to grow slowly, I feel so much better. I feel so much better in myself, and my business shows me, like, my business does better. Like I'll be like, I'm just gonna close my laptop for today and rest, and all of a sudden more clients, more money, more opportunities come in. And it happens every single time. And that's why in the Embody Business program that I do right now, it's a I made a conscious choice to make it a 6-month program, because there's a lot of different programs that are like, create your business in 90 days, or maybe even less. And it's like, I really want the members of the program to like not feel that time pressure as much as we can avoid that. All right. Just checking your comments again. Yeah, it was okay to feel receiving for the work I enjoy. Yeah. Thank you all for sharing that. I'm going to move on to myth number 2. And if anyone still needs to or wants to share about comment number 1, like, I'm going to get these comments later. So keep sharing away. So myth number 2 is confidence. That person is killing it, right? They're so confident. I can never be that confident. You know, I can never show up like that, or I don't have that confidence. I don't have what it takes to, you know, to show up like that. And while, yes, the confidence and the being in our power is really important to grow and sustain a successful business, you know, the successful entrepreneurs that you see who embody this confidence, who you see is really confident, a lot of them weren't just born that way, right? They didn't just magically get there, including me. It has taken a lot of work, and it still does take a good amount of personal work to show up confidently. And that's not even the most important part. I think it's to show up even when you're not feeling confident, and to be transparent about the times where we feel like a pile of crap and really insecure and like a fraud and all those things, because that is the humanness in you. And when you're providing a service, especially in the realm or the area that we do, our potential clients need to see the humanness in us. That's going to help them know us and like us and trust us, which is a necessity for them to, trust, right? They need to trust us to work with us. So it's really not about always being confident, always showing up that way. It's about being real. And so just like time, I personally believe that confidence is another excuse to not get out of your comfort zone, to try and start a business, because it's unrealistic to expect that, I'm going to put myself out on social media and feel really confident about it, and if I don't, I'm not made for this. That's definitely not the way it happens for most, maybe even all. I mean, I think at least most people that I have worked with or built a business alongside. And especially because we're not creating items, or we're not selling merchandise, right? We're almost kind of selling ourselves. We're putting ourselves out there. We're exposed. We're vulnerable. Your business isn't really about business. Your business is an expression of you. And so most of the time in building your business, it is about you, and it stirs up so much insecurity. Creating a business, I don't have kids yet, but so far it has been the hardest thing I have ever done. And I've had some good business friends who have said it's harder than having kids. I don't know if that's going to be true for me, but it is really hard because it does stir up all this stuff, all this doubt, all this insecurity. And I'm making it sound really hard right now, but it's actually a huge self-development opportunity, and it is amazing. And you will come out of it and continue to grow from it in ways where it feels really, really good. It feels really, really amazing. And if you're not willing to be in that discomfort to get there, then business is probably not for you, because there are going to be a lot of uncomfortable moments. And again, it's a myth that we're always going to feel confident and all of that. And if you are willing to be in that discomfort and you're scared, that's totally normal. I don't know anyone who wasn't so scared and felt a lot of feelings doing this. And just like we need a therapist to work through our emotional stuff and our blocks and all of that, and that we can't do it ourselves, or we can't expect our friends to do it, right? We also need to invest in a business coach who's going to help us get ourselves out of our own ways, because in business, we become our biggest obstacles, right? We feel vulnerable, we feel exposed. There's just so much that comes up. There's resistance. And to expect to do that on your own is going to be a really difficult, kind of painful journey. And I went through that myself for a while. And my clients have also done that before investing. And if anyone asks me, like a friend, a family, a fellow dance therapist, like, I want to start a business, what should I do first? I will always say invest in a coach. Because we just need that. We all know how important it is to have that mirror. And not just for business strategy, because business strategy is only a very small part of creating a successful business. I know there's all these things like, how do I do that? How do I do this? Someone wrote something here earlier about all the logistics. Those are easy to learn. The thing that's not easy is our own stuff. And that's what we need extra support for. So, yes, I know I see comparison in the chat box. Oh, that was really, really tough for me as well in the beginning. Yeah. And that's part of becoming confident is, well, I'm going to stop talking. We're going to move into movement, and I'll expand on that in a little bit. So once again, we're going to do a short movement experience. And wherever you want to be for this, choose your position, choose your starting position. You can always change or move. I'm just going to have a sip of water. And like before, let's just start with 2 deep breaths, inviting whatever movement we want, just to transition from the intellectual stuff into the body. So breathing in, you can close your eyes if you'd like. And breathing out. And again, breathing in. And breathing out. So I'm going to ask that you do close your eyes or just lower your gaze, or do it will help you just focus within for a few minutes here. So I'm just going to ask you to imagine that you have invested in support, you've invested in a coach to help you move through all these fears of not being confident enough, or fearing failure. And through this work, you now have this amazing confidence that you have not felt before. Of course, you still have your moments of fearing the failure and not feeling good enough, but the ground that you stand on is more solid than ever, and you deeply believe in yourself, your abilities to succeed. You feel this deeply within your body and the way you move, and everyone can see that in you too. You are radiating confidence. Take this visual, envision this right now, and then invite movement. So in this new place of being you, how are you moving? I'm going to stand up too here. So how are you moving? Maybe even how are you walking? You can get up and walk in your space. How are you walking differently? How are you holding yourself up? Maybe it's really simple. Maybe it's just my head is tilted up higher. My shoulders are more open. Or the way that I walk or step just has a bit more impact. You can start simple and just stay there, or you can expand. Maybe it flows into your arms. And you can keep the slowness here if you want, or just let the movement move you, right? So feeling and moving, this newfound confidence. You're not perfect. You still have the fears come up, but the ground that you stand on is more solid than ever. And you are radiating confidence. How are you moving now that you're here? If the hows or the but what ifs come up, try to put those aside right now and just imagine that you were here already. And we can get more into the hows and the what ifs later. How are you moving? How are you holding yourself in your body? It might be really, really subtle, or it might be really big. And the amazing thing is that we each have our own way. One person's confidence looks totally different than another's. And the important thing is to find your own way. So find your own way right now. We'll do this for 1 minute, one more minute. How does this feel in you? How does this move you? And whatever you're doing, however you're moving right now, again, just bring that movement to a gradual, slow closure, gradually making your movements smaller, gradually making them slower, so you come to a closure and eventually a pause that feels right for you. Don't rush it, just take your time. And we'll take another breath together. Breathing in, inviting whatever movement. Maybe it's a movement you did. And breathing out. Take your time coming back to the screen. And whenever you're ready, let's check in. Let's reflect. Any insights, any ahas about kind of this area and this belief, like I have to have this, this confidence, right? And the piece about showing up confidently is going to look different in you. And it's got to be your way. It's got to be authentic to you, right? Because again, we are the ones providing the service. And if there's any level of inauthenticity, is that the right way to say that? Your clients will feel that. Your potential clients will feel that, right? And comes back to that trust. We need to feel that you're real. We know and trust you. We have a connection with you, because that's going to be the first step to someone paying you. No, not just paying you, but like knowing they need to work with you. I need to work with this person, her energy, or their energy, or his energy. It's, that I've gone to so many clients that way where they're like, I don't know. I just know I need to work with you. This is part of it. At the end, my body was able to soften without telling me or prompting it to. Yeah, maybe see what helped you get there. Maybe there was like that allowance or that permission to soften up. That reminds me of, starting this whole business thing. It's like, and getting on social media, if that's the way you go, which is probably the way most of you are going to go, right? Is starting to have a presence on social media. It's like, it's easy to have this guard up because there's so much fear in it. So yeah, allowing yourself to soften in a way that's natural without telling or prompting. Nice. Posture open and feeling good versus forced. Felt an ease to moving into a space. Yeah, that really feels like on the same theme as the last comment, is like, it's not forced. I'm allowing that to come into my experience. That feels really important for this journey of moving into business. If there's anyone who had an experience that you're not sure about or didn't feel like it was helpful or the opposite of helpful, please do share that too. That's important also. Of course, our body's always sending us information that we need to know. Opening out into more of my kinesphere than I usually allow myself to do. I'm so interested in this theme that's coming up about allowing self or giving permission, or I don't know, that's just what feels like is coming up, this theme of allowing and easing. And I think that's so important because, again, we often are like, oh, I gotta push ourselves into it and through it. And it's like, oh, we can allow this to happen. Feel challenged by this because I feel and have felt strong and confident, but also feel failed by my past experiences. Yeah, so that voice of doubt is still really strong. And I'm curious about the word failed, it's really real, to feel like you failed. But there's also a certain perspective on that can help us change that. Because I feel like I've failed a lot in my business. I've had periods of failure, and then I reflect on them and I'm like, wow, I just learned so much about what I need to do differently, what I need to improve. Usually it comes back to myself and how usually comes back really to not forcing, not pushing, not pressuring myself is usually the lessons I learn when I feel like I've failed. Found myself really closed that something's happened, say, in India today that isn't allowing me to think forward, feeling a block. Yeah, okay. So sometimes there's something that's, maybe today isn't the right time. Maybe this week isn't the right time. This vision is really big, right? This vision that I gave to you. At the end of this presentation, we're gonna break it down a little bit more into like one little step. So if you can't feel this vision right now, that's okay. We'll end with a small step. Keep your comments coming. I'm just noticing the time and I'm going to move on to myth number 3. So myth number 3 is identity. So oftentimes there's this belief that having a successful business means that I have to step away from who I am personally and who I am as a dance movement therapist. And it's actually the opposite, because this is a huge soul-searching journey where you finally come into alignment with your deeper soul's purpose of who exactly you want to serve and how you want to serve it. And you actually come into your identity more than ever. and and it's not about abandoning your identity. Like you feel what you're meant to do. And the first part of that is choosing a specialty or choosing a niche, which is crucial, especially if you're doing an online business, or you're doing online/local, or even if you're in an area where there's a lot of, right, where this wellness market is overcrowded, or this body mind stuff feels like that market is overcrowded. What usually happens, and there were some comments about this in the survey that I took, is that a lot of people experience niche resistance, where they experience weeks to months, maybe, of confusion and indecision about who do I really want to focus on, or if I tighten my niche too much, if I make it too specific, I'm going to exclude people, or I don't really want to. Just feeling this resistance to speaking too specifically to one person, which doesn't mean you're speaking to one person, but it's like the avatar of one person. So I first want to say that niching isn't a forever thing. You don't have to commit forever to one niche. It's going to be a few years, only until you get a decently large following who, once you get that following, then you can expand and talk about a lot of different things and serve people in a lot of different areas, because they're going to be like such big fans of yours that they want to hear what you have to say on everything. But you do have to niche most of the time in business, in practice, if you want to be known as this person who does this thing. Like, I'm having this specific problem. Oh, Erica does that. Erica's an expert. And I know there's like stuff around the word expert, but that's how people think a lot of the time, right? I want to work with the best of the best in this area. So you have to be known for what you do in order, again, I'm speaking in having more time, more money, right? In order to charge more money for your service, and people actually willingly, happily, thankfully paying for that and receiving that service. So because you'll need to dedicate your entire messaging and your entire marketing to one specific niche, it has to be something that you've always been passionate about, something that you will continue to be passionate about for several years to come, because you're going to be talking about it a lot. You're going to be talking about the thing that you specialize in a lot, and the same topics over and over again. And this is the part where it's like, oh, I've always been passionate about this. This has always been a huge part of me. And 9 times out of 10, your niche ends up being you 5 to 10 years ago, where you were at and before you overcame a huge challenge that brings you closer to where you're at, or that brought you to where you're at now. Meaning, for example, my niche is women who have experienced trauma in the past, who are now still bringing that trauma into their relationships, sabotaging their relationships, and just want to have a healthy, lasting, loving relationship with their partners. That was me 5 to 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And I also overcame that. And so I know what it feels like to really struggle in bringing my past stuff. I said 5 to 7 years ago, but if I'm being real, it's like happened a lot of my adolescent and adult life. And I know what it's like to now be in a healthy, lasting, loving relationship. And when I really started digging in, I had all these memories of being on AOL Instant Messenger and talking to different people and giving them relationship advice. And even when I had a heartbreak from my high school sweetheart who like couldn't understand why he broke up with me, I remember talking to him on Instant Messenger, and I was like, well, maybe it's because this. And I was like analyzing for him why he may have made that decision, even though I was heartbroken. And I was like, I have always loved helping people have better relationships. So that's and that has brought me into my identity and into my ground more than ever, is realizing this is my soul's purpose. And it might change, it might change a little bit, or I might just want to talk about more general stuff, but right now, this is what it is. And before we go into the movement experience in this topic, I just want to say it's a little bit of business strategy and marketing strategy, that a niche is not a modality. So your niche is not, I help people through dance movement therapy, right? Or I help people get into their bodies or something like that. Marketing your modality is not enough. And in fact, it is a waste of time if you don't have a niche. Because you could be marketing, right? Like, do you want to have more energy and feel alive in your body? Everyone wants that. Every single person wants that, right? Everyone wants to feel more alive and more energy. And who can do that? A yoga therapist, a Zumba instructor, interior designer who, I don't know, like anyone can do that. So it's very not specific. If you're not talking to someone specific, then you're not talking to anyone, especially in the online world where we know there's so much of that going on. There's so much like selling going on, and there's just so much noise in general. Your message has to basically stop your ideal client in their scroll and be like, oh, that's me. Follow, subscribe, whatever. And this doesn't mean that you're sacrificing dance movement therapy if you're not talking about DMT all the time. It just means that you have to be strategic about the way that you market it so that you can attract clients you love to work with, who will pay you the big bucks. And then once you start working with those clients and deliver your service, you can use the modalities that you love, right? DMT and whatever else you like to infuse that with. So we're just hitting the surface here. There's, of course, so much more to go into. But what I want to help you do today through movement is to get a little bit of an idea of who your niche is, or who your niche might be. And yeah, just so you can feel a little bit closer to this and to who you want to serve and your identity. So again, just get into a place and a space in your body where you prepare to move, maybe changing positions, or maybe, taking a breath, moving around, doing a stretch. And I'm noticing the time, so this is going to be pretty short. And just start inviting movement in as a response to this question. What's the biggest personal challenge that you've ever had to overcome? Not to get like really deep into this, right? Again, we're just touching the surface here. And what are you so proud of for overcoming that's made you a more evolved, better version of yourself today? If you're not sure, just move. Maybe the answer will come to you, maybe not. Maybe you'll just get a little bit closer to the answer. But yeah, your biggest personal challenge that you've ever had to overcome, and what are you so proud of overcoming that's made you a better version of yourself today? So you might envision, you may have had a memory come right to you. Just move that, invite movement into that. And if you're not sure, just start moving your body. You might even have a few things that have come up. And again, the time is a bit short here, so just plan on moving that for another minute. If you can't think of any, the biggest, just start with one. Another option is, if you're not sure, just embody and just move what it would be like to get over a challenge. And then you might have that memory or that idea that's more specific come to you. Take another 30 seconds. And start gradually slowing down your movement, making it smaller, making it slower. Just to get some closure with this very short movement experience. Take a deep breath, invite whatever movement you want with that. And come back to the screen when you are ready. And share what you want. You don't have to share. You can share what what personal challenge came up for you that you've gotten over. Sometimes it's, maybe too personal, you don't want to share it. Or you could just comment that you got more clarity, or that you didn't, you weren't sure, or maybe you were stuck between a few different things. Just note where you're at and let us know. Connor says that was a surprise. I'm intrigued. If you want to share. I'm just going back and reading the comments from before until, here we go. My biggest challenge was overcoming the way I look at myself, I guess. Okay, that's a start. I would suggest just going back into this kind of movement exploration, because it has to be more specific. Get into more details about that, more specific, and move that as much as you need to get clear. Shaping what it was like to grow up with an autistic brother. Yeah. And that's, if that's something that you come back to in movement and feel like that keeps coming up, that might be something important to work with. List of things. Some things I don't feel like I've quite fully accomplished. Yeah, I want to speak to that for just a quick second and say that you don't have to be. I know I said I'm in a healthy, lasting, loving relationship today, but gosh, it's not perfect, and I still make plenty of mistakes. We don't have to have, again, it comes back to confidence. It's not about being like, I have accomplished this and I've got it. It's about being transparent too. Like, I'm going to be transparent right now. In my first trimester of my pregnancy, I felt really abandoned by my husband, and we went through a rough period, and I was like, how am I supposed to share anything about my relationship when it's, I was stuck. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm just going to be really honest about where I'm at in a way that's, not oversharing, not too much self-disclosure, but actually really relates well to my potential clients who are like, thank you for saying that, your relationship isn't perfect and blah, blah, blah. So I just want to speak to that. Okay. So in the interest of time, like I said, I I'm really looking forward to reading all of your comments when Erica sends it to me. I want to leave you with a feeling of feeling empowered to move forward. Even if there are things where you're stuck on right now, you couldn't envision that big vision. This is where I want to just break it down really small so that you can leave hopefully feeling like you can move forward even just a little bit. So I would love for you to leave to feel able and empowered to take one step towards creating the DMT/mind body movement practice business of your dreams. So I'm like, speaking of time, I'm fighting with the time here. So on your own, just reflect what the biggest takeaway is that you had from this workshop and feel into that. Make a movement, just one simple movement to represent it. And then tell us in the comments how you're going to commit to moving forward in one way starting this week. So if your biggest aha, for example, was I can ease into a successful business. I don't know, maybe that's the movement. That's just what came. Something like that. And let that inform you of how you're going to commit to moving forward this week. And that doesn't mean like, it doesn't have to be something huge. It could be, I'm gonna look for a business coach, or I'm gonna invest in a business coach. Maybe it's just, I'm gonna create a savings account to start saving up to invest in coaching, which by the way, you don't have to save up really any money at all for marketing and other stuff. Like I created my business paying $0 for marketing. The only thing I invested in was coaching because I knew I needed that emotional and strategic support. So maybe it's just creating a plan or starting to contribute $1 a day into a separate account just for your coaching, so that you're at least taking one step. Maybe it's creating a Facebook page, or maybe you already have a Facebook page and you're going to commit to make one post this week speaking to your niche, or at least a little bit closer to your niche. Creating a plan is not enough because you already have a plan. I think you probably already have somewhat of a plan. You probably had this plan for a while. Name something that's actually like a physical action, right? So it's not just up here in the mind, you're taking action. Yes, I'm going to address the Q&A if I have time. Let me know.
I actually saved all of the questions, I copy and pasted all of the questions, because some of them are, I mean, they're all really great questions. Some of them are completely, I don't want to say separate topics, but things that I think you might want more time to get into that we don't have. So just so everybody knows, like the Q&A has also been saved, and Orit will get all of your questions and your comments so that ideally you guys can continue to connect off of this platform, if you will. But yeah, there's some really great questions I've been reading through. I'm like, ooh, that's an entire seminar.
Yeah, I know. Like there's definitely, and I went on some side tangents too, where I was like, I can make a whole like hour on this and the whole, yeah, there's just so many layers of business. And I'm happy to do a Facebook Live / podcast answering those questions too, and provide you with that. Can I just say one more thing, Erica?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
So what I also wanted to offer you all today is first dibs on my embodied business coaching waitlist. So basically you would sign up and get on this wait list, and the next time I run my program, you would get the first notification on how to sign up, or just details if you want to sign up. There's there's no commitment or obligation to join the program if you sign up for the wait list, but it is first come, first serve. And it's a very small program. Spots are really limited. So I wanted to offer you all first dibs to sign up. And I'm going to just put that link in the chat box. Again, you just put your name and email in there. You get on a list. I will probably start reaching out to you via email around November or December. And Erica, I don't know if you have like a resource list, but I can also send you that link for people to sign up.
Yeah, so I will be reaching out to all of the presenters and gathering whatever resources, information, slides, video that they ideally want to share with all of the attendees. And I will put that together, most likely in some type of Google document, and then share it with all of the attendees. So yeah, if you want to, I mean, I would suggest you guys take that link now, just because it's going to take me a little bit of time to put together that document. But I mean, it's not going to take me till November. So, I mean, copy down that link, but I can definitely add it to the resources that everybody will get, I would say, within the next week or two.
Yeah, and you can just click it now, and so that's open in your tab, and then just, you can fill it out really quick now, or just have that tab open and fill it out as soon as you can.
And it looks like I'm deleting or dismissing your questions. I'm not. I've copied them, and I'm just going to send them to Orit personally. So,
okay.
Not being heard. I'm putting down the last one.
And depending on when you release this resource list, if I've moved quickly enough, I can make that video answering the Q&A. With that.
Okay.
We'll see.
Awesome. So, all right, I'm gonna leave the chat up. Obviously, if you guys want to keep adding anything, I can add it to the document. But Orit, I wanted to say thank you. I think this was a great way to end the seminars, a great way to kind of culminate our summit. You know, so many of the things that you said, I was like, I didn't even realize that I'd done some of those things. You know, like, oh yeah, because I think when you follow your passion and you just step into, whether it's what you know you want or just being open to what the universe wants to give you, amazing things really do happen. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean that everything is always going to be 100% successful, but I really appreciate with the ease that you discuss it and how openly and transparently you talk about it. And I think that you made it really accessible for everybody today.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that you felt that, because it's my intention that, you know, I had zero business knowledge or education. And so there's nothing that makes me more capable necessarily than anyone else in here. I mean, that's not true. I am white and privileged, and, you know, that could definitely be a factor. But in terms of like, if you don't know anything about business, or you feel like where do I start? I don't know if cursing is allowed here. Then I understand. I was there too, and I just hope, you know, this helps.
Yeah, you're speaking to the fact that you don't need a business degree. You just need a business mentor, right? Or in your instance, a coach, like somebody that's going to walk you through or be there for you, because it is very overwhelming and there's lots of steps. And yeah, you don't have to go back to school and get another degree just to start your own business. So I really appreciate that. Well, thanks for being here. I'm going to turn you into an attendee if that's okay.
Yes. Thank you everyone for joining and sharing vulnerably. Again, I am going to go through your comments later, but I know that there's like, you really opened up here, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for allowing me to hold that space.
Yeah, I'm going to send you those comments now. And thank you again, Orit, and good luck with your growing family.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.